Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another video. A little bit different one from me today. I've got the dog, as you can see. She's just mental. She's like all labradoodles. She's into everything, and I'm not really used to coming out photographing with her. The last time I did, she actually dropped a stick right in the middle of my composition, just down here. As soon as that goes in, I will put the little video camera on and talk you through the composition. And practically ruined it, so anything could happen this morning. So onto the photography. This week, it's been beautiful in my part of the country. There's been a load of fog and I've been desperate to get out, and typically today when I can finally get out, there's no fog. And would you believe it, for the early part of next week there's snow forecast, and this is my only opportunity, so I've got to make today count. That being said, we are in the early part of winter, but there's still some autumnal colour dotted about. My intention for today is to point out the things that catch my eye, not necessarily photographing them all. I'm always, like always, I'm only after the ones that really appeal to me, but pointing out the things that catch my eye as I walk along, just to give you some ideas of the things to be looking out for when you're out taking your own photographs. I do fear that it's going to be a little bit of a bite-sized video because of her. I don't know how it's going to go. She might be perfectly fine, but she might be a complete nuisance. So if I get one image today, it'll be a raving success. So let's see how we get on. Come on, you. So the obvious things that catch my eye immediately when I came into the woodland is naturally going to be the area of beech leaves on the young trees there, that's just hanging on the last bit of colour for autumn. You can see in the canopy it's largely gone, but just over here, what also caught my eye, I'll just zoom in a little bit there, you can see that patch of lovely golden grassland in the distance. Now that's purple moorgrass. It grows just here. It grows pretty much in an acid environment, and at this time of year it also takes on its own autumn colour. Where is she? So I just thought I'd bring you in for a closer look at the grassland. A dog that's just finding it hilarious to jump in amongst, but there's obviously something about it that tickles her stomach. But you can see this is the purple moorgrass area. Lovely. I hope it's coming across on the camera just how luminous it is. Really beautiful. It's quite chaotic, obviously, but it's just that contrasting colour that really catches my attention. And it only takes a little bit of something in between it. I mean, just zoom in there, you just see a little patch of rushes just in the background, some nice spacing of trees. And if the light was better, you could potentially get a nice habitat shot within here. These trees are alders, by the way. Alders are a species that do like to get their feet wet, and typically it's why you find them in this sort of habitat, very marshy underfoot. Right, well that's far too close. Let's zoom out. So there we go, purple moorgrass, beautiful habitat, well worth keeping an eye out for. There's always potential to photograph something in these areas. The colour is just immense at this time of year. So I was just walking along, and everybody knows that I like a leaf shot, and things that catch my eye, like I said before, you see straight away, you see one there that stands out on the very muddy footpath, and then further along, this second one is the one that caught my attention mostly. Just look how that stands out from its surroundings, and these are the things that I'm looking for. Very typical of what makes it a great shot. You've got all that beautiful contrast. That leaf really stands out from its neighbours. But in terms of quality, I think there's better to be had. It's quite a straight shot, that, with just the one basic leaf, and I would normally be looking for something more, but that is typically what I'm looking for. Just down here there's another one on the left, again stands out from all its neighbours. They're literally everywhere when you get your eye in, and they just arrange the composition so they come into the shot quite nicely like that. But I'm not going to photograph it. I'm going to look for something a little bit better at this stage. It's a bit too early to be jumping the gun. I think there's much better to be had today. So it's certainly been a while, but I've persisted and I've got something that I really quite like. Now, there's so much opportunity to be had, I'm sure, within this little tiny section of waterfall. And what I've been trying to find, amongst trying to keep a dog happy throwing sticks, is trying to find a section of the waterfall where I can really show the fluidity of the waterfall and create some pleasing lines that complement one another. And I think I've finally found it. I initially went for, there's a large area of swell just here where you got lots of colour from the peaty water that's coming down, and I got down really quite low to look into it to sort of create the illusion that the image, the water was much more grand than it actually is. It was sort of working, but I got the feeling it wasn't going in the right direction, so I gave up on that. And eventually, and I'll just get you closer, I saw this little section here, and what we've got here is a little piece of water that arcs over, and in that you've got some peatiness, some colour, some like this orangey brown colour. And then at the bottom, you've got this line here that I've used to form the base of my composition, and then you've got another section of foam that's just coming in here. So my framing is pretty much, if I can show you, is something along the lines of that. Now you can really see those dynamic lines now. The one coming in from the bottom, just here, creating the base, and this one coming over, and then the back one with the colour in it. And the rest of the scene I've underexposed, just to expose for the highlights, so you just get the dynamic lines coming through the image. So I'll put that shot on now. So another little thing that just caught my eye, it's amazing, what I'd actually done was I'd just taken the bag off, struggling to concentrate with, with the dog, who's constantly wanting to play with sticks. She's just obsessed by them. So I've taken the bag off just to give myself a minute where she's not chasing around and I'm having to keep watching her all the time. And I'm just defaulting back to my usual ideas that when you stop and you just relax and just chill out, let her get on with what she needs to do, you start to see things. And this isn't really anything that I'm going to photograph, but it was almost worth photographing. And it's obviously got a little silver birch leaf that's fallen onto a beech leaf, and you've got that lovely shape coming through the leaf. And I would have photographed it only for two reasons. It's got a nick taken out of it there that I'm not overly keen on. I could have probably forgiven that, but the main reason is that in order to get a composition on using the beech leaf to incorporate the birch leaf, you end up with a corner that you really need to include where there is no leaf. So it's just unfortunate that the birch leaf has just fallen in slightly the wrong place and I can't get what I want. But otherwise, that would have been something that I think would have really worked as a nice creative image. So I'm just going to have 5 minutes here. I'm just going to have a drink, have something to eat, and just have a nosy around and see if there's anything else catches my eye. It does go to show that when you stand still, things do reveal themselves. So it did work. A couple of minutes, having a snack and a route around, and I came up with another shot. And it's so similar to the last one, but better. Now let me just flip that around. I'm so pleased I found this. Here we go. So just there, that's a rowan leaf that's landed on the beech leaf. And I think there's a chance that I could crop that as a vertical panoramic on that leaf. What do you think? I think there's an opportunity there, and I think if I set the exposure to quite high, almost overexposing, I think that'll look quite something. So let's get the camera out and give that a go. So one of the things that I always do when it comes to taking shots like this, whether it be on the ground, you know, down vertically, up in the sky, just anywhere really, is to get the lens on the camera and not really working at the composition, but get the camera where it needs to, where you think it needs to be to get the shot that you want before you put the tripod in place, because then you can look at where the tripod really needs to be positioned before you get the camera on and you start wrestling around with everything. So that's what I'm doing. I think, in all honesty, for this lens, the tripod would need to be right up there, which is just impossible. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap this lens. This is my 120mm macro. I'm going to swap this for my 160, but I don't think I'm going to get the close enough focusing that I need with my 160. So this may have to be a crop off the full frame, which I don't mind. I've got enough. It only means that the camera's got to come down to about here, and there's still a sufficient amount of image without cropping it to such a point where you're just taking a little tiny box in the middle of the frame. It's probably taking about a third all the way around off the frame to get what I need. So I'll try the bigger lens first, the 160, and see where that takes me, but I think it's probably going to be the 120mm macro. So I finally got what I wanted. It will have to be a crop. My camera doesn't shoot panoramic, so it will be certainly a crop in that sense, but also it will have to, like I say, it will have to be a crop of the outer portions as well. I can't quite get close enough. I've tried to be inventive. I've used the dog's lead as a bit of a counterweight to bring the leaf down a little bit. And in doing that, it did move the other leaves on other twigs around it. So I've used some little snippers just to create a bit of space around it, so I've got a nice clean view. That's actually really still there just now. So that was the other problem I had, is that there was a bit of bounce. It's quite a long piece of branches, this, and there's a twig just at the back of me here, and every time I touch it, it moves the whole lot. So I've definitely got what I wanted there. Just let me just check that, and then I'll bring you in and I'll show you. Yeah, really quite happy with that. I'll show you what I've got now. So you can see there's my scene. This gimbal's a nuisance. When you try and show the camera, it wants to try and organise itself in a different way, but you get the idea. So as you can see, I've got this big old bright portion here. So I'm going to be looking to crop that little bit just there from the scene. It may be a bit more than a third, but it's as close as I can get, unfortunately. The tripod just won't go any higher, and I think I'm pretty happy with what I've got. I know the scene I want, so I'll just show you what I've got there. That was the last shot that I took, and if I zoom that in, you can see there that the leaf of the the upper leaf of the rowan is really quite striking against the leaf of the beech in the foreground, and all that beautiful transparency. And what I intend to do is raise the exposure in post to make the whole thing a little bit brighter. I didn't want to do it here at the time because obviously increasing the exposure increases the exposure time, and that was causing difficulties with subject movement, so it was a bit of a compromise. So I'll put that shot on now. So I'm going to leave it at just the 2 images today. My little dog, she's had enough. I think she's realised that there's not an awful lot of running around to be done, and far too much sitting around, to be honest. So images to come in just a second, but let me remind you that my new ebook is for sale. It's available on my website, www.simonboothphotography.com. The ebook is full of alternating full screen, full colour images, just like you've seen today, with over 10,000 words of valuable insights. If you want to support the channel more, you can go over to Patreon. You can join on there from as little as 99 pence a month. If you've enjoyed today's video, however short it's been, don't forget to give it a nice big thumbs up. Please subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and as always, leave us a comment below. So until next time, I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.